So what I'm saying is that the keys to the Lamborghini, right, is this right here. Because what it is like you buy tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 and you get all the prices, right? So like this is what you're buying for, right? Let's actually let's do this and then reset so it's easier to read. Right? There we go. That makes sense, right? So this right here, right? This is these are the sell prices, these are the buy prices. Okay?
Right.
We can take all of this, right, and we can make it like the text like a white. Oh, that's not fucking good for the brighter ones. Let's do
What if
black.
you changed
There you go.
the text color? Yeah, there you go.
I did. So what I'm saying is like let's do this and this and that and that, and we'll change the text color to white. Okay, cool. You get the buy prices and sell prices, right? And what I'm telling your fiance,
Ah, okay, yeah. I see what you're saying.
right, is that you try to buy where there's a low price and a high volume, right? So the price is like Limhurst is usually pretty good for hide, which is the material we're buying, okay? And so you buy for the lowest price you can, like 64. Okay, and then what you do is like you buy 1,000 of it, and when you refine 1,000, you actually produce 5,800, so you get 580 for free. Okay, and then it takes like 1,000 and 2,000 to make 3,000. Fucking 3,000 to make 1,000. Okay, so you're producing 1,000 hide into 1,000 leather every time. Okay?
Yep.
Like you're producing 1,500 all the way across because you're getting that 580 extra. But what I'm saying is like you buy 1,000 tier 2 because look, like I need to teach this. Okay, let's see here. I need to figure out how to better explain this. Okay, so whenever you refine hide into leather, right? Let's go all the way back to tier 3. To make a tier 3 leather, it takes tier 2 tier 3 hide and one tier 2 leather.
Yep.
Okay? And for the leather, it's 1 to 1. Right? So it's 1 to 1. And then if you look at tier 3 and tier 4, look, so it's 2 to 1, right? And then 2 to 1, right? Like for the same thing, right? Hide to leather. So that's why you buy 1,000 and 2,000 and 2,000 to be able to produce 1,000 leather all the way up to tier 4, because you're just refining it into the next tier. But you get 580 every time because the city gives you an 18% refining bonus, and then a specific city of the 5 cities in the world give you 40% refining bonus, so you get a bonus 58%. So every 1,000 leather you produce, you actually end up with 580 leather that you didn't pay for, right? So there's profit right there already, right? Can you stop, bro, with the background noise and the random talking and the noises from your mouth and the fucking, like, honestly, all right, server muted, dude. Sorry, bro. Jesus fuck. Okay. So whenever you're buying these materials for 40, right? If you pay 40 and pay 74, because of the 40% refining bonus, you save 40% on each one of these costs. So it means it means that what? It means that you're producing the tier 4, one piece of tier 4 leather for 162 silver, right? So if you sell it at 162 for one piece, you're making 0 profit and 0 loss. You're just getting the fame and leveling up your refining from doing that. Okay? But we're trying to sell at like 162 plus, ideally 195, right? Right. And then that, if we sell at 195 and we buy for 40, 40, and 74, our profit margin per 1,000 is 200K profit every 1K produced, because we actually produce 1.58K. You know what I'm saying?
I think she lost you.
Yeah, I know. It's confusing, right? And then you start increasing your quantities. So instead of producing 1,000 every time, you're producing 3,000, and then 3,500, and then 35,000, right? And it takes the same amount of time to run around the distance of the world, right? So you're running 1,000 leather around the world, and then you're running 3,000 leather around the world, and then you're running 3,500 leather around the world, and then you're running 35,000 leather around the world. And it takes the same time to make this trip, right? But the amount that you're producing, because you're moving more, means that your production on that same trip is much greater. So your profit in that same time is much greater, right? Right? And so you start off making 200K for every 1,000 refined, and you're doing 1,000, so the whole 30 minutes pays you 200K. And then you're doing 500K for every 1,000 refined. So the whole trip pays you like I don't know, you're tripling it, right? So it should pay you like 600K, and then it should pay you like 1.8 mil, right? And then whenever you get to a mammoth and you're running 55,000 every trip, you're 10xing this, so you're making 18 mil in the same, like, so you go like 200K, 600K, 1.8 mil, and then like 18 mil in the same fucking. I mean, fuck it, dude. I'm just trying to help people. Chuck.
Right.
Chuck, I know I've explained it a lot. But I'm getting better. Okay, the reason I'm explaining it over and over and over is because the more I explain it, the better I get at explaining it. And I need to explain it very clearly and very simply and very elegantly and concisely. So that way I can make a fucking YouTube tutorial on it without confusing the shit out of everybody. So that way it's a good video. But anyway, right? This is it. This trip, whenever you're making 18 mil in one 30-minute trip, okay, is whenever you're running like tier 3, tier 2, and tier 4 on one mount, okay? And what happens is, like, eventually whenever you start banking the extra 40% that you're producing, and then you sell the total amount that you produced of tier 4, because this is excess that didn't refine up to the next tier, okay, you don't have to run these anymore, so your carry weight doesn't have to hold these portions anymore. And then you can only buy and carry and transport just tier 4 hide. So now you triple your money again, and you go from 18 mil in 30 minutes to making like 36 mil in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And that's whenever you start making bank, because then in an hour and a half you can make fucking 100 mil. And that's what I want. Like, that's the steps to progress up. But people need to know the quantities to buy, the amounts to use, the cities to use, the prices to pay, and the prices to sell at. And if they what the fuck is this? Who's Cabler 25? Okay, I don't know who that is. Anyway, they joined the party. So whenever you know, like, all 5 of those different things, right? Then you can, like, start off with like 10K silver, and in like 3 days get up to like an elite winter bear, and start making like 3 mil every 30 minutes, right? And then you can get closer to that 18 mil every 30 minutes with the mammoth because you're saving up for like another 2 days to make enough for the mammoth. And once you buy the mammoth, you're bare minimum making 18 mil every hour. And then you're making like 36 mil every hour or so from then on, because you have a stockpile of bank tabs of tier 2 and tier 3. And that's what I'm dealing with right now. I have an entire bank tab of 110,000 tier 3 leather that I need to refine into tier 4. So I have to buy 120 or 220,000 tier 4 hide and run it all the way back to refine it all. And I just can't move that much weight. So I need help. And that's where we're at. You know what I mean? Anyway, dude, I'm running from Thetford over to Fort Sterling now that I've explained that. So but hopefully that made sense, Sweet Peach. And hopefully like you got the gist of it at least. You know, details and numbers and shit you don't really need because you're not like in the game applying it right now. But I at least want people to understand that the method and how it works and why it works, and like that it even exists, because it is like a linear return on your refinery, right? Like you're crafting 1,000 into 1580 every time. But what happens is like, because you're doubling your transport, and then you're doubling your transport again, and then you're tripling your transport, and then tripling your transport again, and then you're 10xing it when you get from an elite winter bear to from an ox to a grizzly bear, you're doubling it, and then from a grizzly bear to an elite winter bear, you're doubling it again, and then whenever you get a stockpile, you're tripling it again, and then whenever you get to a mammoth, you're 10xing it because it can carry 10 times more than an elite winter bear. And then whenever you get a stockpile with a mammoth, you're tripling that again. So even though you're getting a linear return on your refined materials, you're exponentially growing your profit per hour because your transports are producing an exponential amount. And I think it's literally just the best way in the game to make money.